Hi, my name's Keith Cooper from Northlight Images, and this is a Canon TC-20 M 24-inch roll paper printer. And in this review goes with a much longer written review I've done, which has much more technical detail and information if you want to find out more about it. I'll put links to that. But I've produced a few videos looking at the TC-20 M over the last few months, and essentially it's a very nice printer. Now, it's a 24-inch roll paper printer, has pigment ink. It has ink in ink bottles. You fill it up from bottles like that, and it has 4 colours. Now, I see some people immediately going, oh, 4 colours, that's no good. Yeah, Canon market this printer as something for offices, schools, for printing posters, doing art, basic sort of poster art type stuff, even CAD drawings and the likes. But when I looked at it, I thought, is it any good also for printing photos? And at first thing, you would think 4 inks, no, that's not really enough. Now, I've shown lots of examples in the other videos of making prints, and I've got in the written review as to why any concerns over a limited gamut are probably nowhere near as important as you think. Yeah, I wouldn't pick a printer like this for making, say, fine art prints to sell, but it is absolutely not marketed that. It's a 24-inch printer. Now, it has sheet paper support and a scanner as well. Now, a scanner is a fairly basic but pretty good scanner. Sheet support, however, is limited to A3 size. You can't put A3 plus 13 by 19 into it. And it takes roll paper at the back. Now, because of the limited size of it, it uses roll paper on 2-inch cores. That's the diameter of the core that the paper's wound around. Most better quality papers that you find, certainly ones with the sort of fine art type and photo papers, tend to have 3-inch cores. Now, it is possible by taking an old 2-inch core or 3D printing something to make an adapter to fit 3-inch core rolls in this. But then you've got the problem that there's not enough space for the full width sometimes of a big 3-inch roll paper. So just bear that in mind. I've got in the written review lots of details of what's good and the important things you need to note about this printer if you are thinking of getting one. Now, lots of prints, lots of nice prints I've done on it, no problem. In the course of it, I've needed to top up the inks. It seems fairly economical. I haven't done the kind of testing, however, though, that I can give you precise numbers for how much ink it uses per se. But these inks are relatively expensive for bulk inks, so you're not going to be paying as little as you do for a big large format printer that takes big carts, 200, 300 mil carts. You're going to be paying a bit more for it, but you get to fill up as and when needed. I mentioned there's a maintenance cart. This is one that was filled in the process. I didn't get this printer uninitialized, brand new, so I don't know what was used in the setup and things like that. But this particular cart here, they're replaceable just by a little panel at the front here. This weighed 280 grams when I replaced it. A brand new one weighed 208 grams. So we've got about 70 odd grams, or a bottle and a bit of ink has gone into one of these carts to fill it up. Now, I think you could probably get a bit more out of this. I replaced it when it was flashing up warnings and told me to replace it. I think you could have left it quite a while longer. But you will get through these, but not at a particular high rate. But the inks, yeah, just fill them up. Oh, by the way, the bottles of ink are keyed on the top with a physical shape so that you can't put the wrong bottle into the wrong ink tank on the side. The ink tanks are just down the side here. You can't just put the wrong bottle in, so it's designed like that. The other thing is, do not squeeze the bottles or anything like that. Just pop them in. They won't drip, they won't run. They're designed so that you just take the lid off, drop it in. It will fill up as much ink as is needed, and then away you go. Now, how does it print? Well, I just use the ordinary Canon driver printed from Photoshop. I also tested the Canon Poster Artist software. Now, this is a web-based software. It's very useful if you want to print posters, calendars, notices, and of course you can print them on roll paper. Now, the papers I've got here, a range of papers, but I've got some plain paper, some plain coated paper, things like this for roll printing. It's great. I've even got, and this is from testing Canon Pro 2000 a few years ago, I've got some Canon water resistant paper. Now, it's a polypropylene based paper, and if you look, I've got a review of that, of printing a panoramic sheet print and then washing under a tap. The ink doesn't run. Is this one for printing big outdoor banners? Yes, as long as you're not going to put them there for a great deal of time. You know, it's okay if it gets wet for printed on the water resistant paper. If you want proper banners you can leave outside, they won't fade, do anything like that, you need proper sign printing printers and inks. But those are big, they're expensive, and it's not the sort of printer I really look at. Well, as I said, this is aimed at people who want to print posters and stuff like that. But I've found, and this is a test print from it, that the colour gamut from it is surprisingly good. And although it's obviously less than something like a Canon Pro 300, pigment ink printer with lots more inks, although it's worse than that, it's not that bad. And for many photographs, the majority of people would not notice. Now, if you're going to put prints up for exhibition, selling prints and things like that, I would say, you know, you're going to have to spend the money and buy a proper printer for it, but for your artwork and photos. But if you just want to print stuff that makes nice looking photos, now there are a few limitations, but I go into this in the written review. But it's fine. It even prints black and white well as well. And that did surprise me. Off a 4-color printer, getting good quality black and white. I make sure I print using the black and white printing mode in the driver rather than try and print color with that. But that's easily enough done. I've got more details on black and white printing in the written review as well. So you've got, what sort of things do I like about it? Well, the fact it's a 24-inch printer. It's roll paper. What things would I say to be careful about? As a limitation on sheet size, only A3. No borderless printing. It does not print borderless either on roll or on sheet. Likewise, I mentioned the 2-inch core size, that's potential, and there are no ICC profiles for it. Now, I made some ICC profiles for a few papers, and they're listed in the main review and available on request if anyone wants them to try. But this is a surprisingly good printer. I kept thinking, oh, I hadn't thought it would be this good. Now, that's partly because Canon don't market this as a photo printer. They've got lots of photo printers, nice photo printers, bigger photo printers, more expensive photo printers. If you wanted something like this, as long as the prints you want are the sort of prints you can get from this, and you're not worried, as I say, about things like borderless and stuff like that, then it's actually not at all bad. But as I said, the technical details I've got in the written review, so you can see all of that. But yeah, it's a nice printer. Oh yes, there is one other major gripe I have with this printer. That is the touchscreen here. It's smallish, but if I put my glasses on, close-up glasses, I can read it okay. The problem I had is that as a touchscreen, you hope that when you use your finger on the touchscreen, it actually activates what you want it to activate. I just found that some of the buttons were too small. Now, I've got particularly big fingers, so it's not that. It's just that, yeah, like selecting papers and things. There you go. Now, if that's the biggest gripe I've got for it, well, it's not that much. I should also mention there's a print catcher here I've got installed on it. That's a cloth print catcher. It's useful but not essential. If you don't use it, make sure that if you're on a desk, that as your prints come out, they can trail a bit over the edge, because that stops them catching against the top surface, and if the ink is still damp, it can leave some marking. But other than that, there's very little I would want to complain about as a, you know, relatively light, although I can't easily move it myself, but certainly not that big 24-inch printer. If you want size, this could be it for you. Anyway, thank you for Canon for lending it to me to have a look at. So I'd like to see a bit more thought over 2-inch, 3-inch papers, but it is what it is, and if that's what you want, go for it. I hope that's been of use. Do have a look, as I said, at the written review as well, but also if you've got any questions here, let me know and I'll endeavour to answer them on the comments and the like, or post questions directly to me. I've got it here for a while yet to do a bit more testing on, but not bad. Oh, by the way, I always forget this one. Please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.